This is a great honor and a privilege for me to be a priest for 55 years at this church, the Church of the Holy Apostles of the Western Suburbs in Chicago. We hope that you will enjoy our walk together. It's a little journey. Set apart some of the special areas in the church so that when you come, you can point out these places yourself. We go back to the years of 1958 and 59 when the Church of the Holy Assumption in Chicago was really at its peak, its highlight of its historical movement itself. I was assigned to the church here to come. Where are we going to meet? Well, let's have some location that's temporary. We started having our services right beneath a basketball hoop. I can remember that distinctly. We met with the attending bishop, Father Gambrillis, and said, you know, we found this church. It's a Lutheran church. It's in Broadview. It's on 15th and Harvard in Broadview, Illinois. It was a nice home to begin with. It was a starter home, and we liked it, and we said, let's go with it. There's a man who was an artist, not an iconographer, Frank Lackner. He put all these icons. There were 6 of them. Today, we have them hanging in our corridor of our church. They were the ones that were even transported here. We used them for a while until we got these beautiful icons that we have of mosaics. They were another step forward in the church. But they're actually used as an iconostation during the break period of Lent, and especially Holy Friday and Holy Saturday. We set up a temporary altar in our multipurpose room. So now we're getting to a place, how about a piece of land? See if we can buy a parcel of land someplace. We finally contacted the owner of the property, was Mr. George Baltus, building Westchester, building homes and building condos and that sort of thing. So we continued on our building program. We had to find an architect at that time, and we ended up with this one gentleman whose name was Edward D. Dart. Ed, what do you know about the Greek Orthodox Church? You know, the church has to be an expression of our worship, of our tenets. He says, I made some trips abroad. I've gone to Venice and saw St. Mark's, a beautiful church, Byzantine church there. Went over to Constantinople, he says, and I saw St. Sophia in the days of the beauty. So he started thinking about the terms of seating, and he came up with this particular design. I said, remember now, we want a church that's functional. That's important. You can use space for more than one activity. The churches have these portable baptismal fonts. In the nave, they're very useful and practical for those churches. But I see if we're starting from scratch, we have something unique to do here. So he came up later with an octagonal shaped building. He says, well, if you count the 8 Beatitudes, if you count those, that's what it is. This is Edward Dart speaking. The beauty of any building is not the materials used, but the manner in which you use the materials. This building is not going to be shown as if it's just a modern building that blends into the society in which it was constructed. And of course, there will be, he said, I'd like to have 3 domes. I said, well, you're going to have a large dome in the center, which is usually for the Pantocrator, the all-knowing, all-powerful Christ. He says, no, you'll see it as I come up with the schematic. So he did. He came up with the dome over the narthex. He came up with the dome over the baptistry. And then he came up with this massive half dome over the altar and part of the nave in which we live and worship. So we started on the building. First of all, it was kind of a shock because they don't build these kind of churches. Until you go to Greece and monasteries and find that's exactly what they built, but they weren't true to what they were thinking. So the building was coming and taking its full shape. It's a beautiful building. This huge dome here was all white, pure white, was all plaster. There was a cornerstone laying service. We did a service. We came in a procession actually, but with cars. All the way from Broadview, we came all the way here to the Holy Apostles Church. We did an ayasmo, which is a blessing, a holy water blessing. So we did that service in 1964. the service of the names of prayers of the living and the dead. Meletios was the Bishop of Chicago, and he was here the first to do the first liturgy at that time here in the new church building. Very exciting day. It was a beautiful day. I remember weather-wise, people were all excited about it. And altar boys came over, brought their various altar appointments, the gifts of the altar. And we knew it was going to be temporary because we had to one day consecrate the church as well. In 1975, we had the consecration service. And when the Archbishop came, Archbishop Kypros, who celebrated the consecration, he placed on the outside chrism, that's the oil chrismation. He made it a church of God. As he did all around the walls here, as if the icons were on, he would have done the icon. We did it later with the bishop who was in the church, but that's what those marks signify, that this church has been chrismated. Just like a baby comes out of the baptismal font, chrismated, illuminated, and blessed. So is this, the building now, done with chrismation that he used that day. Shirley Cantos was a very pious gal, and it was suggested to me, why don't you have Shirley come and do icons in our church? So we see now no longer Frank Lackner in the building. Now we see mosaics. In New York, Archbishop Kypros came upon this mosaic artist named Cyril Tonelli. He is Orthodox, not Greek.